Hi, it's me again. I'm Yin. So this presentation is about another simple study, I would say, on how to understand customer preference for different sustainability aspects based on the behavior. So this is the work from a project called ProSit, which is a spin-off project from the KKS profile project. But this project is also funded by KKS. The purpose of the project is to encourage sustainable purchasing behavior and try to bridge the communication gap between companies and customers. I have Synapse and Taket as company partners in this project. In brief, with this project, I was trying to understand what sustainability information do customers prefer, or what do they actually want. And in one of the conference paper, I've proposed this approach that consists of 4 steps, the ProSit approach. But I would like to explain this in a more illustrative way. I believe that different people have different needs, different preferences for sustainability aspects or for other aspects in life. And if we're talking about sustainability, perhaps this customer may have more interest in, say, climate change and circularity of products, as I've written in green, or the other customers may also have an interest in circularity, but also a stronger interest in social sustainability and water. And in those smaller words in gray are subcategories of this bigger sustainability category, or I can call them attribute. For example, design for repair is under circularity. So you can see that the preference of different people vary. And this project is about trying to build a preference model of customers, and it's defined to be a set of personalized, weighted sustainability attributes that indicate how important each attribute is to an individual customer or a group of customers. And by an individual, it could be a person like you and I, or it can be an organization like BTH can also be considered as an individual customer. So if we say, assume this is BTH, then this is what I call a preference model in a more illustrative way. So for BTH, maybe the preference for sustainability aspects would be like 60% on climate change in green and 40% in circularity. Or there could be another pie chart drawn for like subcategories, like these are those subcategories under the preference model. So this is what is in my mind that I try to illustrate, to explain before we delve into more boring text. I'm going to report results from a small study that aim to explore machine learning techniques, specifically clustering techniques, for modeling such preference model for sustainability information and customer behavior. So we try to use or explore what clustering techniques can be used to build preference model, like I've illustrated, and maybe build predictive model to predict what customers actually want. And also there are like other interesting findings. So these are the methods covered in this study. Case study, description of the framework. With the case study, the company is Synapse, which is a large Swedish furniture manufacturer that has customers from more than 40 countries. They have developed their own sustainability index too, which is called Beta Effect Index. Basically, they try to give their products a score, which is the index score, about how sustainable that product is. And that index covers both environmental aspects and social aspects. There are 20 attributes as listed here under 6 categories. And the study that I'm going to talk about, we analyzed the sales data from Synapse that cover a 1-year period of all their customer accounts in 45 regions. Like 3 of the regions are sub-regions of Sweden, and then there are like 42 countries as well. There are more than 7,000 customer accounts that we analyzed. We analyzed what did they buy, and we focus on only office chair. And just to make the study simpler as an exploration. So each chair series has a sustainability score, like illustrated here. And then we also have an assumption that these customers, before they purchase these products, they have read about the sustainability index, so that the purchasing behavior was an intended behavior, which is an assumption, and that might not happen in reality. And the coming slides are slides that I might want to talk really fast or even skip. What I forgot to talk about is that I have worked with other researchers in this project who are Sophie Halstead from my department, sustainability. I also work with Vaselka. She is a professor from computer science. And the works in the following slides are from the master thesis work that we supervise, and they are master students from computer science. So I'm going to talk about things that I actually do not really fully understand. First of all, there are two techniques that I want to highlight. One is K-medoids, which is a clustering technique that we use to partition the data set. And also KNN, nearest neighbors, is a machine learning classification technique that we have also used. Then the coming three slides talk about how we define the framework for this clustering. And this matrix basically represents how we evaluate the products with respect to the sustainability and attributes. And more framework, how that 6 categories of sustainability attributes that I just talked about from Better Effect Index, which has 20 sub-attributes or subcategories, group and label as S1 and A1. And we will talk more about how people's behavior differ with respect to the categories, which are S. And this is the approach that we proposed from the thesis work. It explains the steps to be taken to generate the models we want, how we consider sustainability index information and purchase information, etc. But what I want to show is some interesting results. There are mainly 3 results that I can briefly present here. One is that based on the analysis, we have identified 3 typical customer purchasing behavior with respect to sustainability attributes. And each dotted line represents 1 preference model. And now you can see why I would like to draw that illustration, because 1 pie chart on top equals to 1 dotted line, if you can understand. And these 6 categories, S1 to S6, are those in the index. What it means is that, for example, for cluster 1, the orange line, we have that many customer accounts, 5,000, whose behavior are similar to that line. And they prefer S4, which in this case is the social responsibility of the products, that has the highest preference in the products that they have purchased. And the Y value indicates how much preference has been represented in their purchasing behavior. So in this, you can tell that actually there are 3 types of customers, and basically all of them, based on what they purchase, seems to have a higher preference in social responsibility. But there are other factors that affect this phenomenon. The second result that I would like to say is that we have also used machine learning. So the first one is only about building models for existing customers. How do they look like nowadays? But then we have used some algorithm, supervised learning algorithm, to build a predictive model. And what it can do is basically that if you now show me a new customer that we have never met before, but because I know the basic information where they come from, for example, then I can already guess which type of purchasing behavior or preference that customer has. So this is what we have done, but I can't show you the algorithm, which is like some programming codes. And this bar chart shows that we have compared different techniques to choose KN as the most reliable one. We have also delved into a little bit more detail. We try to divide the chairs into groups. So lower priced products like cheaper chair, which are not that cheap actually, and more expensive chair. And then we see whether there are different types of typical purchasing behavior. And we see that actually the typical purchasing behavior for different price range differ. And then you can see the size of the cluster and then how actually the behavior is described here. For example, in this cluster for more expensive chair, the most preferred sustainability category is actually S6. That is the 6th category. And another type of analysis we try to do is here we pick one customer whose code is called D5 79348. So it's one of those lines. And also their behavior in more expensive chair and less expensive chair. And compare it to general groups. So this is to show how we can compare an individual behavior to group behavior. And there are more results that is not actually covered by the methods that I talk about, but other methods and not published yet. But just to show you quickly, we can as well generalize behavior into regions or countries. So we use other clustering techniques and find that there can be like 5 typical behaviors among all these customers worldwide. And for example, it seems like Canada or US customers from that region has actually quite similar behavior to customers from China. So what are the insights from this study is that we demonstrated that we can use clustering techniques to model customers' purchasing behavior in relation to sustainability performance of products. And we can also illustrate individual behavior versus group behavior. The understanding of the group behavior can be useful for market segmentation. Understanding of individual behavior can enable tailoring of information to appeal to certain customers. For example, you can design different communication strategies for different markets, or you can individualize the information for certain customer, say print them tailored catalog or show a different interface in the online shop. We can also use this information to enhance the communication of sustainability values to promote sustainable procurement practices. And this is related to what we talked about in my last presentation, that we can also try to develop and agree upon set of indicators and decide what should be the weighting for the tools that I talked about earlier, which were discussed. Sorry.